Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to cover the curriculum overview. So this will just be a quick review that you can come back to just to know what we're going to cover in this class. When I take a course, I always like to know what will be covered in that course, and I like to know what to expect. So in this video, we're just going to go over the curriculum for this course for COMP 2006. This curriculum's been developed in such a way that students with little to no programming background can get started programming quickly with C++ in a very practical way. It's a very complex language, and it's probably one of the most complex programming languages used today. That doesn't mean that learning the basics have to be impossible to grasp. In fact, all programming languages provide the same general constructs that we use to build programs. This is a beginning modern C++ course. There are many topics in C++ that are at an intermediate or advanced level. I won't be covering those in this course. My goal in this course is to teach you the basics of C++ so that you can write basic C++ programs that solve problems. More importantly, this course is going to lay the foundation necessary for you to go forwards and learn more advanced C++ concepts in the future. This foundation is also going to allow you to read C++ code written by other programmers. So if you get hired at a job with C++, you can understand what's been written. C++ frameworks are used everywhere. For example, if you want to program games in C++ using Unreal Engine, then you'll have the background necessary to use that framework. If you want to use the popular C++ Boost libraries, you'll be able to use them and understand many of their APIs. Okay, so let's talk about the curriculum and what you can expect in this course. We're going to begin our C++ training by going over CodeLight's IDE and the interface and writing C++ program using CodeLight. We did that last week and we're going to continue to do that this week. As we do this, we're going to understand how to compile, build, and run a C++ program. And I'll talk a little bit about some errors that you're going to encounter. I know you're thinking, oh, geez, he's already talking about errors. I haven't even started programming yet, and I don't even know how C++ works, and he's talking about errors. Is this going to be difficult? Don't worry, the sooner we talk about errors, the sooner you're going to know how to fix them and what to expect, and it'll become normal. Like I've said many times, I've seen students become turned off from programming really quickly because of the errors. Expect that you're going to get errors. It's normal. Everyone has them. You fix them and you move on, and it feels really good. Then we're going to talk about the structure of a basic C++ program. I'll explain the pound include at the beginning, the namespace comments, and the main function, cin and cout. These are the elements that nearly every C++ program will have. Then we're going to talk about variables and constants and how to use them. You can write a C++ program that does much of anything, or you can't, write a C++ program that does much of anything without these variables and constants. We're going to go over how to declare them, how to use them, name them, and much more. We're going to also discuss C++ basic types, which allow you to use integers, floating point numbers, characters, and more. Now that you know what variables are, we're going to group a bunch of them together into a collection called arrays or vectors. And we're going to be able to store and use multiple variables like a bunch of test scores or temperatures for the last 7 days. These are called arrays and vectors. We're going to learn how to create them and use them. We're also going to learn how to use multi-dimensional structures so we can model things like grids, boards, and spreadsheets. Then we're going to learn about strings in C++. Strings are basically a collection of characters. So my name, Ben, Ben. String is basically used extensively in C++, and we'll go over the basics in that section. In the following section after strings, we're going to learn how to write program statements. These are made up of expressions, so we're going to go over some of the C++ operators like plus, minus, multiply, divide, and so forth. At the end of this section, you'll be able to write C++ statements that tell the computer what to do in order. Now we get to the real powerful stuff. Control flow and order flow. It's nice to be able to write a bunch of statements one after the other, but to really have power, you need to be able to make decisions and repeat things more than once, and this is called control flow. This will open up the world of programming and give you so much power. In the next section, we're going to learn how to write functions. A function lets us group a bunch of statements into a single construct. It helps us organize our code and think more abstractly. Following functions, we'll talk about C++ pointers and references. You may have heard the horror stories out there about C++ pointers, but don't worry. I'll walk you through how and why we use them. And you're going to see the incredible power that they do give us over our hardware. Finally, we're going to learn the basics of procedural programming in C++. I know you guys have covered Java already, so object-oriented programming shouldn't be new, but it is going to be awesome when we cover it in C++. We'll dive right into OOP, and we'll model our programs in terms of real-world objects. After all, it is an object-oriented language, so that is how we're going to want to use it. We'll learn about operator overloading. So that basically allows us to define how built-in C++ operators can be defined so that they work with their own classes, so they feel like they're part of the standard language. Then we'll learn about inheritance and the power that it provides. Imagine reusing existing code by inheriting what you need from it and just modifying the parts that you need to solve your problem. We'll wrap up our OOP, or object-oriented programming, with polymorphism. Basically, that allows you to program allows your program to determine its behavior at runtime. And it really lets you think in general, so you don't have to be concerned about the details. So the last several sections of the course are going to be slightly more advanced, but they're also important, so I want to include them in this course. If we don't cover them, that's okay, but if we're able to get to them, I would love to cover these. The first is smart pointers. We'll talk a lot about C++ pointers, since every C++ programmer really needs to understand raw pointers, but it also provides smart pointers, which are different. They basically make memory management much simpler and make your program safer to use. Then we're going to talk about the standard template library in C++, or STL. It provides basically a standard template library which have a rich set of containers, iterators, and algorithms that are ready to use. Why reinvent the wheel if they already exist? So I'll go over basic STL elements that we can put together and solve complex problems. And then we're going to finish off talking about input and output to files and exception handling. So I don't know if you guys have covered try catches, but exception handling basically allows you to deal with some exceptional conditions that might occur in your program. So if the file doesn't exist when you try to output it to it or read from it, you can try an operation, and if it fails, it's important to understand how to write our code so that it's aware what to do if something goes wrong so that we can recover. Awesome. So that's a bunch of material, and I'm really excited to cover these topics. Some of these topics could be covered in an entire course on their own. So we're not going to go diving super deep into all of them, but we're going to make sure you understand them in the context of C++. Cool. So this is going to be a really practical course and about beginning your introduction or beginner learning into C++ so that you can further explore the amazing programming language and use it in real-world applications. Awesome. Thanks for watching.